You know, all-time teams, all-time dynasties, and all-time coaches screw with our perspective. We all need to take a deep breath. That's coming up.
Thanks, Colin. Time for our final topic of the day. The Thunder beat the Lakers last night, led by Carmelo Anthony's 27 points. Melo has had a new role in the offense and said yesterday, quote, "The game is starting to become fun again. Fun for me and fun for us as a team." Shannon, what do you make of Melo's comments?
Yeah, Joe, you mentioned that. He said once you accept something, regardless of what it is, you become comfortable in it. He says, like early December, I accepted my role. I became comfortable in it. But it's funny. December 12th, after the loss to the Hornets, he scored 11 points. Carmelo Anthony dressed and was out of the locker room before the media came in.
True.
So I guess he wasn't comfortable with it quite yet, Joe. You see what happened there? It's amazing what 26, 27 points and a win will do for you, Skip. I get it. The situation in New York was toxic. But let's be real. Carmelo Anthony is getting his points. Stop it, Skip. You know. You know.
You know what? I know that this is all a little sad for me because I've been a big Melo fan, and Russ is going out of his way, and Paul George is going out of his way to try to make Carmelo comfortable, but his body hasn't aged as well as LeBron's.
Correct.
Same age, same draft. And so they're having a hard time finding some spot-up shooter role that makes him a part of their big three so that they're going to be a legit threat. I'm just not sure he's good enough at this stage of his age to hold up his end of the bargain.
But a lot of what he did last night, Skip, was still one-on-one. You know, Carmelo had the ball, he faked, and he shoots that pull-up on you. Or he had his back to the basket and turns around on him. I get it. Carmelo, the situation in New York was terrible.
Yeah.
But you're in this role now. As long as you keep winning.
Winning is fun.
Of course it is.
That's it for us. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern. Right now, Colin Cowherd tells you why the Steelers need more self-awareness.
That's why I show up with a smile every day,
now.
because I bust you up every day. Winning is fun.
Undisputed.
This is The Herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, FS1, live in Los Angeles. Christine Leahy is joining me on a Thursday, 1 hour from now. My favorite 10 minutes of the week, Greg Cosell stops by for an NFL meat sandwich. He looks at the Jags-Patriots, and he's going to look at Philadelphia, Minnesota. That's obviously, those are the two big games this weekend. So everything good? Ready to go?
Yes.
I am ready to go. My wife's off for like 4 or 5 days out of town, so it's just me and the animals, man.
Are there any children in the home, or you're calling them animals?
One. No, I got maybe one. Kids are out. Everybody's out. Just me in the house. Yeah, party like a rock star. Yeah. Let me start here. All-time teams, all-time dynasties, all-time coaches screw with us. And what they really do is they screw with perspective. Is that there were a lot of great bands out there during the Beatles' run. Nobody was paying attention to them. The Steelers yesterday got rid of their offensive coordinator, Todd Haley. And, there is a sense in Pittsburgh, oh, my God, they're reeling. Oh, my God, it's crazy. Oh, my God, we're spinning. Oh, my God, Tomlin, this isn't working out. Hopefully Ben doesn't retire. That is the perception now in the NFL that, oh, my God. But let me ask you, if you just took out Bill Belichick and the Patriots, would Mike Tomlin be getting this heat? Yes. Next to that dynasty, it makes Tomlin and the Steelers look small. Yes, and every time Belichick goes up against him, he outcoaches him, like he did against Rex Ryan and Mike Mularkey. And Mike Mularkey and Rex Ryan both got fired after losing to Bill Belichick. This is what Nick Saban's done to the SEC. In the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and most of the 90s, LSU football had decades they won 5 games a year, 6 games, 8 games. They hire Les Miles. He wins 10 games a year in a national title, and they fire him. Why? Because you're comparing him to Nick Saban. Never forget this. 11 years Tomlin's been the coach. He's never had a losing season. Chuck Noll, a legend, won 57% of his games. Bill Cowher's a legend, won 62% of his games. Mike Tomlin's won 65% of his games, and that's in the throes of facing Brady and Peyton Manning in their prime. Let's be honest about this. That one play, think about the Jesse James touchdown that was not allowed to be a touchdown. An inch, a bobble. If this is allowed, I'm showing it now. If that is called a touchdown, which it was initially, then Tomlin has a win over Belichick. Pittsburgh faces Tennessee in the playoffs, and New England has to go to Pittsburgh for a playoff game. That's if they could have beaten Jacksonville. I've said this about LeBron James. Golden State's the best NBA team I've probably ever seen. They're currently constructed Warriors team. If you just took them out, LeBron's got 2 more titles, and none of the drama that we're talking about this week with LeBron is drama. This is what happened to Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods. Phil Mickelson had this reputation. Guy's kind of a choker. If you took the greatest golfer I've ever seen play live, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson would have been the best golfer for 12 years. You'd call him an all-timer, not a choker. I've never advocated for Mike Tomlin to be fired. They were 13-4. 11 years he's never had a losing record. What I've advocated and encouraged is the media to be more intellectually honest, that it's okay to call him out when he gets worked by Belichick, which he was Sunday. Or he was worked Sunday. He had a bad day at the office. But I would say this, defending Mike Tomlin. Let me give you an example of 2 coaches I compare a little bit to Mike Tomlin. They're very emotional. Sean Payton, everybody loves. He's called a genius. Sean Payton's always given the genius label. He has Drew Brees as a quarterback. Everybody's as good as Big Ben all time. And they're way more inconsistent than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, the New Orleans Saints are all over the map. He can't figure out a defensive coordinator. They had 5 and 11 years. I think the coaching undersold Drew Brees this weekend. I think they lost mostly because of coaching on that last defensive series. And we all love Sean Payton. He's a genius because he doesn't have to face Belichick in the NFC every year in his division or in the playoffs. By the way, we all love Pete Carroll. He was fired in the NFL, left the NCAA, USC situation, a complete mess. Goes to Seattle. He's 7-9, 7-9. Lucks into Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. That lasts for 4 years. Now they're a mess again. He's firing his whole staff, and we all love Pete Carroll. So think about it. We love Sean Payton. We love Pete Carroll. Pete's team's totally unraveled now with a Hall of Fame level quarterback, Russell Wilson. Don't deny it, he is. And by the way, the Saints were a mess for 3 years before this year with New Orleans and Drew Brees. And we love those guys. Listen, Mike Tomlin is a good football coach. He's way too soft on discipline for my taste. He's way too loose. I'm not a fan of how he runs his locker room. But, folks, Sean Payton and Pete Carroll are everybody's fave. They're also very emotional guys, sometimes loose on discipline. One had to deal with Bountygate. This year, the Seahawks were the most politically dysfunctional locker room in the league, and we love them. All I've ever asked for Mike Tomlin is let's have an intellectually honest conversation when he has a bad day at the office. We do about Pete. We ripped him in the Super Bowl. We do about Peyton. We just don't have it about Mike enough. The Steelers are always good with Tomlin. They're just don't always look good when compared to New England and Belichick, and that's the truth. So as they fire Todd Haley yesterday, there's not utter dysfunction. They needed to fire Todd Haley, and they need to be better with discipline. That's just never going to happen because that's not the DNA of Tomlin. But I do find it funny how we view them now as being sort of unraveled. Jesse James touchdowns given to him. They play in Tennessee, and they're hosting New England, and he has a win over Belichick this year. It's all time to take a deep breath. The Steelers are going to be fine, and even this year, they were fine. Okay, so I was thinking about this. Wouldn't it be hypocritical, sort of, if the Kardashian family, I mean, they're rich and famous and very attention-seeking. That's their business model. I have no problem with it. But wouldn't it be kind of hypocritical if the Kardashians complained about other families seeking attention? You'd be like, come on, Kardashians. You guys are the ultimate attention seekers. So if the Kardashians came out, and they could complain about anybody they want, but if they complain about somebody being, attention-seeking, you'd be like, well, come on, you guys are the Kardashians. That's what you do for a business model. I do find it funny. A story by Rick Bucher, guy we bring on the show, Trust NBA longtime reporter, says, The Lakers are frustrated with Lonzo Ball that he won't stand up to LeVar Ball. Oh, wait. That's rich. So the Lakers have an issue with the Lonzo-LeVar family dynamic. Really? This is an organization that has been dysfunctional for years. Jeannie kicked Jim Buss, her brother, out of the office. Phil and Kobe had a tell-all book. Shaq and Kobe fought. Jerry West, Riley, Phil Jackson always battled. Who gets the credit for the dynasty? Don't you think it's kind of rich, a little hypocritical that this great all-time brand is complaining about a 19-year-old and his relationship with his dad? Lakers, you can't get your family right. By the way, last night the Lakers lost. Lonzo didn't play. They're now 0-8 with 7 ugly losses without him. So the Lakers are competitive with him, and they're embarrassing without him. And if you go to any Little League game, any high school football game, any AAU basketball game, there's a loud, obnoxious dad, and you have to deal with it. If you're a professional basketball franchise and you can't handle a dad who's a loudmouth, you got bigger issues. Luke Walton's coached 126 games. He's won 41. Somebody needs to rip him. LeVar's not the issue. They've got ownership dysfunction, a lack of talent, coaching turnover, attachment to the past. And oh, by the way, they've made awful personnel decisions. Who the hell gave Mozgov and Luol Deng those contracts? Your franchise is soft. The biggest problem for the Lakers, think about it this way. The Boston Celtics are in, I believe, the 4th or 5th year of a rebuild. Now, they have a really talented 19-year-old. His name is Jason Tatum. The Celtics, though, are in no way relying on Jason Tatum. In fact, if it wasn't for the Gordon Hayward injury, he wouldn't be playing nearly as much. So in the Celtics rebuild, they've got this great 19-year-old, but they're certainly not relying on him. The Lakers, similarly, a traditional coastal power in the NBA, are 5 years into a rebuild, and they're not competitive unless their 19-year-old point guard plays. And you're blaming the dad? The Celtics are in the same rebuild. They've got a great 19-year-old. He's a 5th offensive option. When the Lakers don't play their 19-year-old, they're 0-8. And not just 0-8. The floor caves in. Be careful about the family you're criticizing. I'm not a LeVar guy. He's a loudmouth, and I don't buy anything he says. But you don't like the family drama? Haven't the Lakers for the last 10 years been undone primarily due to family drama? If you're the Kardashians, you can say anything you want, but you're going to look like hypocrites if you complain about another family. All they do is seek attention. Come on, Lakers. You're 5 years into a rebuild, and you are solely dependent on a 19-year-old who, by the way, can't go to the bar at the hotels you stay in on the road. Kooky dads are everywhere. Deal with them. All right. I saw a headline today that I cannot believe. And I think it's totally unfair. And I think we all deal with a bunch of baggage in life. We all deal with stuff, family stuff, work stuff, friend stuff, loved one stuff. We're all dealing with stuff. But it's how you handle it. That's coming up next. Listen, I love my car. You love yours. But there is a point. I'm not quite there yet. But when I do, I know who I'll call. When I get to the 4, 5, and 6 year point of owning my car, Car Shield is what you need. It's affordable protection that saves you if a fuel pump costs $500 and it goes. Or if a water pump that can be worth $800, maybe more, goes on the fritz. Listen, if you ever have a car that's out of the warranty, how long are car warranties? I think mine's 3. How long's yours?
3.
Yeah, 3. You get to year 4, you just don't want to get smoked on a GPS, electronic, sensor water pump. You don't want to wake up one morning and it's a $490 bill. That's where Car Shield comes in. A deductible may apply. Go to carshield.com, code HERD. Or just dial 800-CAR-6100, 800-CAR-6100, and mention the code HERD. 24/7 roadside assistance, and they get you a rental car while yours is in the shop.
It's a big game Saturday. 11th ranked Xavier versus 19th.